that's a tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. I am Dylan Blind. Joining me as always, Ashley Hobley.
Something doesn't feel right.
What doesn't feel
Our
right?
space has been altered.
Has it?
Feels,
What do you think's been altered?
I don't know. Just sounds like esports has been talked about here.
It does smell funny in the Platinum Explosion room this week, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny. We're coming, listeners, we're coming in to do the PAX wrap-up show. And I'm sure it was, PAX only just finished. Here me and Ash are to wrap up PAX for you. There was definitely not an episode last week.
We just decided to skip a number. Yeah.
Well, on the serious note, of course, good job, Kieran and Ash. Not Kieran,
Nick.
Kieran and Nick. Good job, Kieran and Nick for filling the boots, doing the show. Although I did laugh when it got to stage of Kieran just being like, "PAX, I played Days Gone. PlayStation's cool, I guess sometimes." Then Nick's like, "Let me tell you about how I got my Xbox controller to work in my PlayStation," and I'm just like. Burn it down. Burn it down, everyone. It's
Blasphemy.
It was horrible. Don't do that. Sony will figure out how to patch that shit, and then user will be left with several $100 gadgets you brought off eBay. And
If you're if you love PlayStation, you should be actively pushing for them to patch it out. As a purist, yeah. They've done name changes. This is the next thing on their priority list.
Yeah, I hope so. I really.
Keep your Xbox controllers away.
Yeah. Let's not. I can't imagine how weird it does. If you don't know what we're talking about, Nicholas Pryor of the Explosion Network brought some gadget that lets him use his Xbox One Elite controller with his PlayStation. And that's how he plays these PlayStation games now. That's how he's been playing Spider-Man. That's how he's been playing Red Dead. Just picture that. Just picture that and throw up in your mouth like I did. And it's not, I own an Xbox, right? I'm not completely biased, but the idea of using, I just can't. I picture the idea of swinging through New York City as Spider-Man and then looking down to see an Xbox controller. And I'm like, what weird world am I living in? We're going around the twist. We went into the lighthouse. Oliver's coming around. What are we going to do? It's not right, Ash. Is what it is.
Unnatural, yeah.
That it is. It's experimentation gone wrong. Mutations all wrong. But me and Ash are gonna do a bit of a bigger, proper wrap up of PAX
because we actually played games.
Because we played the PlayStation games. Well, did we play all? Well, hold on. We'll go through the list. Here's what PAX had. Now you tell me if I've missed something. Here's what PAX had. Here's what PlayStation had at PAX. Days Gone, Spider-Man, Dreams, Spyro the Reignited Edition, Collection, whatever it is.
Yep.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Resident Evil 2, plus a collection of PSVR games. Have I missed anything?
No.
That is okay.
That's all PlayStation had, yeah.
What didn't you play at the PlayStation booth? Because you were all over it.
I think I actually played everything except Spider-Man.
Not Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, and a couple of the VR games, but
that's fine. Yeah, but you played you played Spyro? Oh, you did. I forgot. You told me.
Yeah, I played Spyro a little bit. Yes.
It's crazy. So before we jump into the game solely and go through what we thought about, what was your thoughts on Sony's presence or performance at PAX this year? I suppose you could compare it to what we saw from them last year. It was to compare it. What do you reckon?
More memorable. I honestly can't remember anything from the PlayStation booth last year. I think they had Detroit playable, and they had the fancy robot things in the glass cages. And then they had a video of God of War playing. Other than that, I can't remember anything else.
I love videos. I love paying $170 to watch videos, Ash. That's my thing.
Well, to be fair, we were 24 hours off watching videos for Days Gone, so we got lucky.
Yeah. But even if we was watching videos for Days Gone, I still feel like it would have been better anyway.
Yeah, because they had heaps of other content.
Yeah.
Obviously, they made one flaw, which was they set up a booth where you couldn't play PSVR games with Move controllers, but other than that, they did a pretty great job.
Yeah. That's my thing. Overall, I think it was very good. There's a wide selection of games. You know, obviously you've got Dreams up to Sekiro, very different on the
Also, they
scale
did
of
have some
games.
PlayLink games that we didn't end up playing.
Oh yeah, they did. I forgot they were off in that corner. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
You know why I didn't try them really is because you kind of want 4 or more people, and we were all pretty much spread out until the last day, and then the last day we were like, okay, we're going ham on indies. It wasn't like, fuck, you know what we should do in the last day? We should go play PlayLink games. Well, I think they had, I don't exactly remember, but I think they had like Ticket to Ride maybe or something else.
I don't know,
Like
some chimp
the
game.
new trivia one that's out in a couple weeks. I think they're dumping like a whole heap of PlayLink games out sometime between now and before Christmas. Sometime in November, I think they're
Smart.
dumping out a whole heap. Yeah.
Family time, easy.
I do wonder
local
constantly
multiplayer.
I do wonder all the time if they actually do okay, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
They're not
don't
for
know
us,
anyone.
yeah.
I don't know anyone who's like, yeah, PlayLink games, they're my jam. They're my thing. I love them.
Yeah.
I would play them more if they worked better online. Like Jackbox Party does. Because I've played the trivia one, Knowledge is Power. Yeah, I think Knowledge is Power or whatever. Cool, great. Can I play that with 3 other people on my friends list online and then have audience interaction or something a la Jackbox? No, I can't. I don't know why they didn't do it. I swear the only reason they didn't do it that way was solely to just be like, we don't want to seem like we're ripping off Jackbox or anything like that. It's
No,
like,
just go ahead.
You're not though. It's a trivia game. If anything, you're ripping off Buzz, which was a rip-off of a TV show,
They
which
should have
was
just
rip-off
done
of
Buzz,
another
to be
TV
honest.
show. So
They should have just rebooted Buzz.
they should have actually. When they announced it originally, I was like, oh fuck yes, because then you could just have the app and it just comes up with a big picture of a buzzer on your phone. You know,
Yeah.
that's all it is. And then you just slam that fucking phone, break your screen, but don't worry, you're in first with the answers. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, Ash.
It's the most important thing, being in first.
Buzz was fun. What a game.
Yeah.
Missed that. Rest in peace
Rip.
to the home.
Well, hopefully not
Buzz. No, coming back. What was he talking about?
PlayStation at PAX.
PlayStation PAX. Yeah. So overall, very variety of stuff, which was good to see. But yeah, as you said there, PSVR, they fucked that right up. They fucked that up real good. They fucked that up drastically. They fucked it up to the point that it wasn't even annoying me. It was just funny. Like I book in for Blood and Truth, which we'll talk about in a little bit because you actually got to play that. But I book in for that, and I turn up to play it, and they're like, "Nah, that's fucked today. Would you like to play Beat Saber?" I'm like, yes, because that was the game I was going to try and book in to do the
That's
next
what
day.
you really
So,
wanted to
yes,
do. Yeah.
that's really, if I had to pick, it would have been Beat Saber over Blood and Truth if I could only do once. I'm like, yes, I'd love to do that. Go over there, play that for a hot 30 seconds. Move controls are just fucked. They're not working. So come the third day, we learn that basically by the end of PAX, they gave up. They're just like, we're not even trying to use Move controller PSVR games because they're just not working. And although they haven't exactly put out a press release that says, here's our mistakes, what we did, as far as we're aware, and I'm aware, it boils down to the lighting system that they had in those little corners was just fucking with the Move controller.
But there
lights.
wasn't like any special lighting. It was just the regular convention center lighting from the look of it. I don't know.
Don't know. Here's,
Unless the
But you would-
move camera was like too far away.
you'd think they'll take into account these.
You would
sorts of-
think they would have done this at many conventions before. Like
Yeah.
PSV's been out for like 2 years now. I'm sure they've been testing it at different like PAXs and other gaming conventions across the states. Why haven't they figured out how to do it properly, I guess?
It's an odd one, for sure. Especially because they were like, yeah, our VR headsets aren't getting fucked. The camera's still reading the lights on those fine, so it can track your head movements and so forth for games. But the issue they were having was simply with the Move ones, which
Maybe they just didn't charge them properly.
it just makes me want to scream. Why are we still using these things?
Yeah, that's true.
Why? I walk past all these Oculus games and whatever else,
Yeah.
Vive stuff happening.
I saw them playing Beat Saber in the VR section.
Yeah, all the way at the back, they're playing
Yeah.
it there on Vive. Yeah, and you're like, cool, that's great. I like how your controller's better than mine. That's cool. Like, I'm a big supporter of PSVR, obviously, but fucking Move controllers. Just if there was a PSX, you're lucky there's not a PSX this year, Sony, because by God, if we reach the end of that PSX and you hadn't announced an update to those controllers, still, every convention or big medium-ish to bigger size convention that Sony does from now on, where they don't announce that they're updating those Move controllers, I'm going to be annoyed. Because it gets worse and worse as the games continue to come out. Because as the VR games continue to come out, developers continue to learn how to make better games for VR, and the games continue to get more like complicated and whatever else. And as that happens, the Move controllers continue just to be
The same.
like they're from the PS3, because they're from the fucking PS3.
I'd hate to break it to you, but I feel like they're not going to be updated until the next version of PSVR comes out, which I assume will be with the next version of the PlayStation.
It's bullshit. Let's
Shrug.
All right, let's have shrug. Let's we'll talk about a little bit more. We'll go over the PSVR games in a little bit. Let's start with Days Gone, the biggest PlayStation title at PAX. That the rumor was that they got the okay to basically make it playable the night before or something like that. Was the rumor?
That's what we've
around?
heard through our sources.
Our sources, our sneaky sources. Yeah, so that's a very odd thing, because the story going into PAX was, firstly, Days Gone is delayed. Then shortly after that, PlayStation announces the games they bring to PAX. Not included on the list is Days Gone. Everyone freaks out a little bit. They're, saying, does this show that it's fucked? This is just such a bad sign for the game, etc., etc., etc. And then last minute, they're like, nah, apparently we're going to show you the game. It's fine. We'll say, anyone got some spare fucking PlayStations for us to borrow so we can actually set up some booths to be playable here? Yeah. And they only had 4 consoles playing Days Gone.
Yeah.
It was about a 10 to 15 minute ish demo.
Although they're doing like 10-minute increments on the app, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So,
and the amount of people lining up for it was a lot. And they just really weren't prepared at all, because if for that, you would have needed like 6 plus, because if you look at some of the other games, the really big games there that had preparation, like Kingdom Hearts, etc., they had way more setups, and
they
even
still
those
had
lines
massive
were huge.
lines though.
Still had massive lines, but at least you didn't feel like he was lining up for. It was like when I lined up for the Untitled Goose Game. One demo station. They
had
not
4
prepare.
systems playing bloody Dragon Ball Z Fighters that came out 12 months ago. couldn't copy paste a copy of Untitled Goose Game across.
They were not prepared for that either, so it was weird.
Lucky it was on the end.
Yeah,
imagine if it was like one of the machines in the middle.
The center. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
My thoughts on Days Gone hasn't changed in the
Yep.
week or two that has passed since PAX at this stage. If it was coming out tomorrow, I would not be very excited for it at all, because I'd be like, look, I just played your game and I know it's not ready. I just played it, and they could be like, oh, that was an old build, 3 months ago. And I would still be like, it's I could just tell it's not quite cooked. But I'm still excited about the premise, I guess.
Yep.
Like the general idea of a motorcycle game where you travel around and you get to take down these types of zombie creatures that aren't in other zombie games or zombie-esque games, because the freakers in Days Gone have proven through playing the actual game to be more than just a horde of mindless enemies. There is variation to them. There's different types of them, and they all react differently to you and fight you differently. So I'm like, that's cool. And as the game progresses, I think you'll obviously run into different types, and you'll run into stuff like the bear that we've seen in one of the trailers previously, of course. So Stuff like that is going to be cool. And then, but the biggest thing from the quote unquote story that didn't contain much fucking story at all, demo that I played that was kind of exciting was the introduction of this cult, I guess. Which one did you?
I played the Horde mode action.
You played, yeah, the Horde. At the end of the story mode, the not the main dude, but his friend, whatever his name is, basically gets attacked by these two human characters, and then you run up there to save him. And they're like melting his arm off with a blowtorch, basically, and they've got. Yeah, but this is one of my complaints as well, though. It wasn't gory enough, and I'm not like,
no.
yes, make it so fucked up I want to throw up. I'm not like that, but it just didn't look
realistic,
like, or even semi. Like, it just didn't look good enough to sell me on the pain that the character was supposed to be feeling. I guess, like, I need it to look fucked up enough that I'm there in the pain, because he's
instead
screaming,
of thinking,
like,
that doesn't look like someone's getting.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it hurts so much. I'm looking at it like, don't look like it hurts so much.
It looks like the blowtorch is like 5 minutes away.
Yeah, it looks fine. But yeah, these characters had like scars, like their faces were all fucking cut up, and they were, talking about the ruined earth and a bunch of shit like that, to the point that some weird cult that, of course, grows up out of the apocalypse of the world. So there are going to be
The Last of Us.
Yeah, there are going to be interesting human characters in the game as well. Have you had any? What are your thoughts now, outside of PAX Days Gone?
Yeah, it's not for me. I played the action horde thing, which was just me fighting, getting murdered by a bunch of zombies for 10 minutes. So, yeah, trying out all the different weapons and then getting surrounded by a bunch of zombies and eaten alive.
What about that? What about that demo turned you off so much? Is it just?
No, I knew it wasn't. I wasn't gonna like it. I know. I assume it'll be easier when you're actually playing it, when you have like a tutorial and like, hey, this is the best way to try and combat this horde of 100 freakers. But just getting chucked in there, and then I just got killed a lot. Yeah.
Because, like, in the story one, you start at the top of this hill, right? And you have to go down into this gas station and collect an item. And when you collect the item, you hear your buddy call out for help, and then you rush up to help him, basically. And I presume that you could have played this demo that I did by running in, shooting them, like shooting everyone you saw, running and getting an item. However, I was playing it all sneaky. I stuck around. I stealth killed a bunch of the freakers, climbed up on top of a roof, dropped down into the gas station that way, and whatever else. I was like, okay, I feel like there was options there for me, the way to go about it. And I feel like with the horde stuff, I reckon there will be story moments where a horde obviously shows up, and the story mission is going to be escape from the horde or whatever. But then I feel like if there's going to be hordes in the open environment, and you need a way to, like, they're surrounding it, probably something you need to get, or maybe an extra item that you want to pick up. Like, there's a really cool upgrade that you can get there, but you have to get through that horde somehow. But I feel like that means you could drive up on your motorbike to the edge of a hill, scope out the area, plan out what you want to do, how you want to go about it. But then you could also go down there, possibly set up traps of sorts, like lead the horde into some direction, semi-trap them in that direction, and go and get what you need and escape. So I do feel like when you're playing it in context, it might make...
See, that was my plan one time. I went down, dropped a bunch of mines, was trying to get away on my motorcycle, and then my motorcycle got trapped on a tree. And then they all...
yeah, motorcycles don't go well on trees. So.
No, they don't. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see more about Days Gone. I'm definitely a bit more skeptical now that I've played it, which I don't think is obviously not what
they wanted.
They would want to hear, or Bend or PlayStation. You played a game, how do you feel? Honestly, more skeptical. That's it's a complete opposite, but I'm still open to seeing how it turns out.
I know the people I was playing with seemed pretty keen on it. One of the girls was coming back the second time, so she could play the other levels. So there are some fans.
I know, but sometimes I just wonder, I'm like, do you not play, not meant to, this isn't meant to be offensive, but do you not play?
It's going to sound offensive, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you not play many games is my thing. Because I suppose if all you play is a couple open world games every year, and that's what you want, that's what your fix is. You play your 5, 6, whatever it is, your Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, you just want that open world fix.
Yeah.
I feel like there are people who just want those types of games, and it doesn't really matter if they're amazing or not. They just want open world fixes.
Yep.
But to me, I'm at the point where it needs to be at a certain level to be interesting, and you're not going to excite me by a huge map. When I was a kid, if I pulled open the GTA map inside the game's case, I would be sold on the game by just looking at the map going, oh my God, I can go to all these places. I can explore this world. Like the world was enough to sell me on it. Whereas now I'm like, what can I do in the world? What is the story? It's just, you could be like, but Dylan, Days Gone is like, it takes you an hour to motorcycle ride from one side to the other. And years ago, I would have been like, fuck yes, I'm sold. But now I'm like, so? Like, it's just...
That seems excessive.
I think there was that thing with like the Crew 1 or 2 where they're like, it'll take you an hour to drive around because they were mini recreation of America or whatever the Crew does. Yeah. All right, let's move on. So Dreams... We finally got to get our hands on Dreams.
Certainly
after
did.
Talking about it a lot on this very show. It's the thing I was thinking about most the other day as I was going over some PAX stuff and unpacking my thoughts, I guess, was how funny it was to walk up to those was there 3 or 4 demo stations for Dreams. Walk straight up to that demo station and it was just empty. Just empty, to the point I was surprised because obviously I'm going into PAX going, Dreams is something I want to play. Fuck, please let me be able to play Dreams. And I'm walking around like, where's Dreams? There it is. Where's the line? Is this the line for Dreams? No, we're lining up to play Sekiro. Is anyone playing? And the dude's just like, no, you can play. I'm like, I could just play? Like,
yeah.
Living in my own little bubble world where apparently in my head people were as excited for the game already as I was, but that was not the case at all.
No.
Was there anyone there when you popped along?
Sorry?
Was there anyone there playing it when you went along? Yeah, it's something. I'll tell you. It's something.
The guy watching the Dreams consoles had a really easy job, unfortunately.
It does seem so, yeah. I do hope by the end of PAX, though, that people did try it out after they got their fix of all the other
everything
big
else
games and kind of got an idea about it, because it really is that thing of, because you could pick it up when you pick up that controller at the Dream Station. It at first seems like you're looking at the main menu for a PS1 demo disc.
Yes.
Maybe
that's what they were going for.
Yeah, it is kind of like
Do you reckon
that.
the main menu was created in Dreams?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, I mean, they say everything is, so maybe. But it's like you're looking at this menu and there's all these different games and you're like, what am I doing? Whereas I suppose every other demo station you go to from what I played, of course, at PAX, for the majority of games it is, you pick it up, you start playing. Like there's no choice. You just pick up, you start playing the game. Whatever the game is, you just start playing the game. You don't need to fuck around or make any sort of decision. You just jump into a game. Dreams is, here are a bunch of mini games. Which one do I play? Oh, up to you. Figure it out. And I feel like maybe it would have been sold better if they made sure the emphasis, or just they hadn't built a what have they called in the actual game, a dream escape thing or whatever. That's going to be in the real game where you'll just go through different people's dreams in like a playlist.
Yeah.
Type scenario. So I was wondering if maybe instead of letting people choose which one to play, instead they just lined it up as a 10-minute demo where it was 2 minutes of each game or something. And you just click go and it took you through 2 minutes of each.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
know.
I felt like this worked. Like if you were like a minute into something and didn't like it, you could just lose it back out.
That's true.
Yeah.
I suppose. But yeah. It's such a hard thing to sell.
It's going to be so hard to market, which is
ridiculously hard to market.
Yeah, it's the thing holding it back, to be honest. Yeah.
There was a funny little story that came out the other day, Little Big Planet had its 10th anniversary, which
Really? 10 years?
Yeah, which was first shocking because I'm like, fuck, really? Like,
We're old.
10 years. That is crazy. For Little Big Planet's 10th anniversary, Media Molecule went ahead and recreated the first level of Little Big Planet inside Dreams because
Cool. So now
why
you got
not?
a free game inside Dreams.
Yeah, it's like here's our games. We've recreated all our past games. Remember how no one brought Tearaway? Yeah. Remember how no one brought Tearaway and we was like, damn. So we ported it to PS4 to try and get more people to buy it, and still not enough people played it, and was like, damn. So now we've recreated it in Dreams.
So do you reckon you'll be able to play all the Little Big Planet levels inside Dreams inside that level of Little Big Planet?
I mean, maybe if they let people go ahead and use the. Well, I suppose they would because they own Little Big Planet. So maybe they add if someone does it for them. I don't know, but they only did the
They won't
first
actually
level.
do it, but someone else can do it for them.
Someone else can do it,
Which is kind of the whole point of the game.
Yeah, they showed. They did on their Twitch stream. They showed them like how they went about recreating the first level and stuff, and it like just recreating that first level of Little Big Planet was fairly complicated. So you'd have to wonder how complicated it would be to do older levels of Little Big Planet, I suppose. Did you check out the 2 minute?
I did watch it. It's surprising. I didn't think there was. I thought it was more 2D, like one dimension, but there's like foreground, backgrounds. Like
And Little Big Planet.
Yeah, Little Big. Well, obviously what they did in Little Big Planet in Dreams. Yeah.
Did you ever play Little Big Planet?
Someone did all that in the background inside Dreams. Yeah. And then they added all the different game mechanics where like he's holding on to something and he gets flung up in the air.
Yep.
And I'm assuming you can control the sort of the level of jump.
The floatiness.
The floatiness, I guess.
That. Yeah. You would be able to, I guess, because
freaking
they've
ridiculous.
like we've seen it. Well, just think about the ones we played at PSX.
Yeah.
They weren't
sort
as
of different.
floaty as Sackboy in that video. They recreated the Sackboy floatiness for that, so you can muck around with everything. Yeah, no, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It is nuts.
It's going to be
And I
fun
love how-
playing stuff other people make.
I love how with that, if you want to check it out, there will be a link in this description of this thing. If you look in your description bar and however you're watching or listening to it, I love how they do the whole level, and then you could show. I'd love to show that to someone, and then like that they know what Little Big Planet is, but not tell them it's Dreams, because then I reckon you could get away with it. And then they add in that nice part at the end where the camera kind of pans around, and then of course comes up like Made in Dreams or whatever. So it's nice little tie-in promotion there as the comes around. But until that point at the end where the camera pans around to a like behind third-person view of Sackboy, it is just Little Big Planet. It's crazy how spot on it is. I think some sound effects are missing and stuff like that, but other than that,
and it looks better.
And it also looks a bit bad, which is also, of course, funny because you're like, it looks better than the thing. It's weird, but Dreams is really good. I'll try not to keep talking about it every episode, but I need Meat and Molecule to stop putting out cool streams and making cool games.
Put the game out.
Yeah.
Put the beta out.
I was thinking the other day, I'm like, when it's actually out, I don't know if I could commit to forever. But I'm like, maybe for an allocated amount of episodes, maybe I'll do like make sure to play some user levels, and I can recommend like 5 or something, like do a little bit of a
dream segment.
Dream segment for a while there. So that could be fun. Anyway, Dreams is out so before the end of the year apparently. So
who knows? Don't
know if they know, but it's November now. So
who do they think they are, Beyonce?
I love how they just.
I can't just shadow drop stuff.
They're just going to drop it. They're like, we've made the release date in Dreams. It's going to be weird.
It's still 2018 in Dreams, so it's fine.
Yeah, got them.
Time works different in Dreams.
It's always 2018 in Dreams. And they're like, we played years. You got to play Resident Evil 2 while at PAX. Do you want to tell that interesting story? About the flashlight and everything.
Yeah, so we lined up for some reason. They they sort of had themed booths for everything. So Resident Evil 2, they had like the police station sort of theme.
Yeah.
I know. I assume that's a big thing in the game.
Yeah. Pause. Ash went to play Resident Evil 2 as someone who A, doesn't like horror games, and B, doesn't play Resident Evil. That's why it makes his story even more interesting.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, yeah, well, the line was relatively short. So me and Buddy Watson from dashculture.com. No, just Dash Culture. There's no .com.
Yeah.
Get a website, you fools. Yeah.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. We decided to go line up, waited an hour, and then we were about to go into the room and decided, hey, you need these flashlights. Which, you know, I don't know why, but so we went into this dark corridor, turned on the flashlights, and they're flickering. They must have some sort of effect or something. And then the guy dressed up as a zombie policeman starts walking out. So head straight for the door. And I went through, and then Buddy got pushed through by the guy standing behind him, who was also coming through for the demo. And then we just went into like a normal, like there must have been like 10 consoles set up.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so played, I think it's like 15, 20 minutes. It was pretty hefty demo. It seemed like a horror game. There were zombies. It was spooks. The puzzle, it looked good. It looked pretty, I wouldn't say amazing, but it looked up to snuff for this generation. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a scene where one of the guys gets his bottom half removed from his body, so their intestines everywhere. They look pretty realistic.
That would look pretty realistic? That's good.
I assume, yeah. Yeah. Resident Evil 2.
So,
HD or remastered, whatever it is.
Yeah, the Ash approval. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I got to play Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. It is really good. If this opposite Days Gone, this is me going, I've already pre-ordered this game, playing it and being like, yes, this is it. This is good. My pre-order can stand, everyone. It can stand. This is what we want. Ash played Sekiro for about 2 minutes, didn't you? And then quit?
3.
3 minutes?
I think I got died at least 4 times, so.
Jesus. Well, yeah, there's one thing about Sekiro. Shadows died twice and 4 times.
Yeah, so double that.
You doubled the game style. It's right up my alley in that it is more like Bloodborne than Dark Souls games, which I'm loving because I really, really love Bloodborne, but Dark Souls are more... They're okay. Dark Souls games are okay to me. They're not on the level of Bloodborne. And there's like an inner fandom struggle, I swear, with like FromSoft fans of Bloodborne versus the Souls games of like, no, you can't. You gotta like them all or something. I don't know, but it's, you know how gamers are, Ash. You know they like getting into fights for things and causing trouble. But yeah, Sekiro was really aggressive combat. I couldn't get the blocking quite down, but of course, if you got more time with it, you'd get the hang of it, of course. But I sat there with one enemy, and I was just letting them attack me because I was trying to get the parry system happening, and I only managed to pull it off once, and I was still struggling to get the timing down. But I'm like, oh, whatever. When I play the game, obviously, I'll have to get better at that if I plan on beating it. But the rolling was obviously a lot faster, more in tone with Bloodborne and Dark Souls, where the rolling's a little bit more heavier, I guess, because you are an armor-clad knight character. And then the biggest thing to point out with this game that I saw barely anyone doing when I was watching it, and I kept being like, why don't you... is that there's stealth in this game. And everyone seems to forget. Or there's not only is there stealth, but there is... you can maneuver yourself with a grapple hook and do stuff that you couldn't do in other games. But everyone was picking up the controller and playing it like all the other games. They're just like, I'm playing Dark Souls, I'm playing Bloodborne. I'll just go into it and play it exactly like all those games, where you can walk up to a wall in this one and press a button and go like back against it and then wait for an enemy to come around and you can like stealth kill them. You can run away from enemies and grapple on top of rooftops to get away and heal yourself and come back around, which is what I did. Enemies were surrounding me. I'm like, I'm fucked. Usually in all the other Souls games, you have no choice. You have to just fight. That's option. Fight or fight. In this one, I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out, peace. Turned around, grappled on top of a rooftop, healed myself. The healing, of course, is like all the Souls games, though you have like a certain amount of heal items that you can use that refill when you go to this game's version of bonfires, whatever they were called. I can't remember. And then I went around the other side of the building, stealthily killed another enemy, and then went around to the enemies that were killing me and jumped off a ledge, and then from there it took them down that way. And I was like, okay, you couldn't do that in other games, so there's the thing. And then I got up to the giant, I don't know, minotaur fucking thing, whatever. It's like trapped in chains when you first approach it. I got it down to one fucking hit, I think, and then died, and I was like so pissed. I just wanted to be like, but there was like a line behind me. If there wasn't, I would have just been like, go again, I'll do this. But having that feeling straight away of fuck, knowing that if I was at home playing it, it would have just been like, retry. There's that like addictive nature that makes these kind of games so good, where you're just like, you don't get really annoyed, and this is like a whole topic in itself. You don't get really annoyed with these games when you die, because I know why I died. It was because I rolled in the wrong direction. So it wasn't like fucking game. It was fuck, I should have rolled to the left. I shouldn't have rolled straight backwards. That was my bad. Let me just retry. I'll get it next time. Another thing was, of course, you were saying about coming back to life. That is another big element of the game that is really cool. So basically you have two circular bars above your health. They fill up when you attack enemies. So as you kill enemies, they'll like take its energy or whatever, and it refills these circular objects above your health bar. So that means at any point in time you can have 2 revives maximum. Then if you die, it uses 1. But then when you come back to life, you can straight away kill a couple of enemies, refill another one, which means that if you are fighting a crowd of enemies, you could die many times and come back to life over and over and over and again. So you could kill 3-4 enemies, die, come back to life, 3-4 enemies, die, 3-4 enemies, die, come back. As long as you was killing enough every time you come back to life, you could die and come back to life over and over and over again. So it's an interesting mechanic that doesn't feel like it makes the game easier. It just feels part of it. And the other thing is that enemies could do the exact same thing, which makes me wonder how annoying it's going to be when you get later into the game and there's some boss that you're like, fuck yes, it took me 10-15 minutes to beat that fucking thing, and then it just comes back to life and you'll be like, fuck, like that's going to be so annoying. But it feels fair given that's the world we're living in for the game. All right, let's move on. Well, hold on. But before I move to PSVR, tell me about Spyro, which is out very soon. You got to play a little bit of it. You've never played a Spyro game before. I remember you describing it to me when I was talking to you about it there. It was quite funny because you're just like, oh, the character doing... Go ahead.
Terribly overrated. I don't know why they bring it back.
Oh, fucking hell.
No, it just seemed like one of those era 3D platformers. Like, I just couldn't get the charge mechanic down. Like, I couldn't line it up properly. Because I've kept going, like, missing stuff.
Yeah, that's the story of Spyro.
I mean, you think they could have, like auto lock or something?
I'm gonna be interested to try it, to compare, like, because I as I was saying to you, I remember in the first game it was a lot stiffer than the second and third one. The first game was very much, once you got into the charge motion, it was like you're a tank and you can barely move left to right. The other ones gave you a little bit more wiggle room. Yeah, pretty much a straight line in the first one. So that's why I'm pretty sure you was playing the first game.
There was some sheep. There was a dude. There was some dragons that you had to release. There was some purple dragon running around. I don't know. It was weird.
I'm really excited, especially because the last trailer they put out, I don't know if you've seen it, the last trailer they put out right before PAX is amazing. It is just... like, it sells that game as on a nostalgia level, but I also feel like at the same time it's so colorful and bright and fun that it could just work to sell it to a new audience as well, especially kids, I guess. Yeah. Because it's just a fun trailer. And then music kicks in at some stage. I'm like, fuck, whoever edited this trailer, just amazing. It's one of those ones where I'm like, this is a good trailer. This is how you go about it.
It looks like it's going to be a big release for them. There was a pretty hefty line all weekend for that booth.
It's crazy though.
It's crazy when it's like out in a month.
Yeah, when PAX is on, that was the thing. You know, I would have jumped on it if there was an empty space just to try it out for 10 minutes or whatever. But I wasn't going to line up because it's out at the time. It was out 3 weeks from PAX or whatever it is now. Yeah. It's out in a week and a half or whatever it is. Yeah. So or a week. So yeah, it wasn't worth lining up for.
The girl behind me in the line was like, "I've been waiting 10 years for this." You've
You're
been
like,
waiting
you
10 years.
though.
You couldn't
You
wait another
haven't.
2
You
weeks to get
haven't.
the full.
You haven't been waiting
in
10
your room.
years though. That is the thing. People keep saying this thing like, I've been waiting 10 years for this. So okay. So you've been waiting 10 years about a couple years after the third game came out, you were pretty much like, fuck, I hope they remaster all these. Like, that's not, it's such a hyperbole statement that people say. I've been waiting.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of things were getting HD releases onto the PS3. So
Yeah, they were PS2
I don't
games.
think it's out of the realm of
PS2
possibility that people
games.
were.
They were remastering Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper and shit. This thing of remastering or remaking PS1 games only really started with the Crash Bandicoot collection.
Yeah, I guess.
Waiting 10 years for this. Fucking get out of here. Jesus Christ. Have you tried playing
I'm
any
sure there's
other
other
video
PS1
games?
games that have been remastered. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
No. If
well,
anyone can
Resident
think of any,
Evil.
feel free to feel free to shout out or something. Well, they did remake the original remaster the original Resident Evil for the GameCube version, which is now out on 1,000,001 platforms. But that was like a up-res remaster thing. The Spyro thing is basically it's a remake. The Crash thing's a remake. The MediEvil thing that we're going to talk about in a little bit is also a remake.
No,
completely different.
Actually, now I think about the thing that kicked it off, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, and that thing's not even out, or it's probably never going to come out. So there's that. That's a thing. Let's talk about some PSVR games. So as we said before, we didn't really get to try out anything that really used Move. I played 30 seconds of Beat Saber. Did you get to try Beat Saber?
Nope.
No. Yeah. I don't think so. Just double checking. So we didn't get to play Beat Saber. I didn't get to play Blood Truth. Ash got to play Blood Truth though. He had a great time. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a Time Crisis, like shoot 'em up on rails thing.
Is it actually on rails? You don't have any control over your
No,
character?
you've got like control, but there's like set points where you can move forward and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then set cover. Yeah, so you just go through, basically you go through tutorial thing to learn how to use all the weapons and how to reload and that sort of thing. And then you get dropped into a well-lit alley and you've got to shoot a bunch of people for some reason. There wasn't much story now that I think about it.
I was going to say, every time I hear you describe this demo, I'm very confused because Blood and Truth is, from everything we've seen, trailers and read about it, and that they've talked about it in interviews, it is a very story-heavy game. Like it's supposed to be a very action-heavy, story-heavy. You're playing John Wick the movie, like you're in VR. You're part of this action movie. There's supposed to be, because it's a build upon the gang thing from the
Getaway
PS,
or whatever.
Well, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a build upon that, and that was very story heavy, very character heavy. There were moments, of course, where there's like a part in that where you're robbing I can't remember. You're robbing a jewelry store or something, and you have to find the item. And then there's another part where you're in a car and you're escaping, and that's very cool, action heavy. Obviously, you're driving down the highway in this van or whatever, and then all of a sudden these people start. I think it was cops or someone, who knows. They start shooting at you, and it's like, oh fuck. You open up the glove compartment box, have to pull out the gun, then all of a sudden you're like leaning out the window, shooting at people. Obviously, that's cool. But every moment between these action set pieces in that was filled with you strapped to a chair with someone in your face with a really thick British accent, basically telling you what's what. So every time you talk about this demo, I'm like, why didn't they just let people play the first 10 minutes of the game, or have one of the bigger set pieces or something? It seems very confusing if it was mostly a demo type thing. Like people know we can shoot guns in VR. Heaps of games fucking do it. You don't need to demo that. What makes the game interesting.
I think that would have
characters.
made it a bit more interesting if there was some sort of story or there was some purpose other than just being dropped in. But yeah, it was fine. I haven't played much VR, so I don't know. Obviously, I can't compare it to too much, but obviously there was definitely issues because there was points where my my arm was like obviously aiming at something, and the
Yeah.
gun would be pointed 90 degrees in another direction. So
that when I wouldn't judge that stuff. I wouldn't judge the game on that. That's definitely part of their move control.
And then I would try and pick up these grenades, and then they would just accidentally fall on the ground. I mean, that was completely the move controllers. That was nothing to do with my personal ability. I also forgot that you could do like a bullet time thing until the very end, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this, and that made things a bit easier.
Yeah, because the reason I'm so like I'm really interested in that because of the getaway or whatever the fuck it was called, the demo thing, and like playing a action heavy movie thing of these really interesting characters seems cool, but I don't know why they chose, if it's what they did choose to do for whatever reason, to basically demo it as in a way that seems to only show off to people who have never played VR. Is what it seems to me. Like it seems that if it's simply a thing of get in here, oh look, you're holding a gun, how cool is that? Maybe there's kids and like people who haven't played VR who are going to be like really
side note
with that.
They weren't letting people under 12 play the VR.
Oh really?
Like I saw them turn people away.
Well, they've got it on their fucking system, so you'd hope they actually stick to it, or else it's like, what's the point of having these safety regulations on your own console and whatever else?
Props to the guy who had to turn away a dad with his kid.
Rip.
That's an awkward situation.
I saw Vive, like different indie studios and stuff, just letting whoever play, but that's a little bit different because that's on them, I guess. But when you're the PlayStation is the owner of the VR like the hardware, and you have rules saying under 12s can't use it, it's a little bit different than of if you're not following your own
guidelines,
rules at your own station, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, when it's just like, oh cool, you can be in VR and hold a gun. That's stuff that was fun for me when I first got VR as well, of course. You're like, oh, cool, there's a gun. But if I don't jump into VR now and get super impressed by the fact that I can shoot guns in VR, or like...
What's your game of the year so far for VR?
Firewall. But but that's not the part that makes it super impressive.
Sure.
My point is I've played so many games with like guns in them in VR because it's such an easy go-to thing, I suppose, for games. VR things to do, that the thing that makes any of these games interesting and special isn't going to be the fact that you can shoot guns full stop. It's like, okay, you need to story, characters, like something, I don't know, graphics even. Graphics are actually a selling point in VR still, to the point where, like, I'd say graphics in VR games are sometimes going to impress me a lot more than even like graphics in normal games, simply because VR is such a new medium that if I see really good graphics in VR, it is a lot more impressive, I guess, because I'm more used to really good graphics on my normal games, on my Pro and stuff. So I'm still interested to try it out, and I just hope that whatever you played was a bit of a turd demo.
Yeah, I think that they were just trying to get something a bit action heavy to get people in, because a lot of people, let's face it, only want the action.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Well, a lot of people probably have never played PSVR as well, so
that too.
Yeah. Didn't make you want to buy it. Didn't make you want to rush out and buy a PSVR headset though. But do you reckon Tetris Effect would make you want to run out and buy a PSVR headset?
Yeah, not really. I'm not rush out and buy one, but it gives me. I think I said in one of our videos, like, I did go to the EB booth afterwards and see how much they were selling the PSVR for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really blame people for not wanting to rush out, because I wouldn't run out to buy any console for one game is my thing.
No,
and buying PSVR to me is like buying a new console. It's not an add-on to your PS4. It is its own system with its own library, and that's the way you have to look at it. However, when you play something like Tetris Effect, it has to at least make you go, okay, this... After you've played that in VR, could you imagine playing it normally and being like, this is the way I prefer to play it?
I think you could for a little bit, but yeah. If you had the choice easily between the two, you'd play VR.
Yeah. It's just way more immersive, way better. I mean, So they had a demo out on the store at the moment. I haven't had a chance to download it. I assume
Yeah.
the demo that's on the PlayStation Store is basically going to be what we played at PAX. I would
I assume so. Just a certain amount of levels, I guess.
Yeah. And I've seen nothing but positive reaction from everyone on Twitter who's jumped in and tried out the demo. And I would much prefer, if I still get a chance, even for 10 minutes, maybe I can download and play it for 10 minutes. Just
to
I
see
mean, I'm
if there's
sold
still
already.
lag.
Yeah, no, fuck off. Look, Buddy Watson backed me up, fucker. He agreed there was some controller lag.
And yet he seemed to be able to play perfectly fine.
It's not my fault. He's probably better at Tetris than me. I never said that I was pro. I just said there was controller lag. I didn't blame my loss on that. I didn't blame the controller. The one that I rage quit, I didn't
Certainly
blame
looked like it.
No, it was when I restarted the game. I restarted it.
You just restarted it, and then there was input lag. Is that what you're saying?
Then there was input lag. There wasn't any input lag when I actually lost.
Okay.
When I fucked up when I was on my good streak and I fucked up, that was just me fucking up. That wasn't controller lag. I got controller lag when I restarted the level, and straight away I could tell there was controller lag. But at that point, it wasn't really pissing me off because I hadn't even placed any blocks in the level yet. But I was still just like, this is weird. I don't know where this lag come from. Anyway, I would like to jump in and try it again because, as I said, trying it there in VR, it was cool to be like, okay, yes, I can see in VR, it looks really cool, graphically awesome. As you get further into the levels, more effects are popping up. Looks really, really awesome in your VR headset. However, like all the games we talked about that were really heavy involved in sound, even with the headset on, it was still too noisy. You're at a convention, too much noise. So if I could download the demo and try it for 10 minutes just to experience what the music is like in actual quiet environment, that would be really cool because the music is such a big part of that game, I think.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say because Tetris is obviously gameplay 100% and less about what it looks like or sounds like or anything. But for Tetris Effect, I do think a lot of it, one of the high selling points is it's got a really cool soundtrack. It looks really cool production. Like visually, it's really cool.
It needs to be next level because you can just download Tetris on your phone. If you wanted to play Tetris, you could just play it.
You could just do it, yeah.
You could just find somewhere on the internet, some probably browser-based thing.
You probably could.
As a version of Tetris, yeah.
And the last thing I tried out was Ace Combat 7 PSVR, which is fine. I wouldn't rush out and buy it solely for the PSVR mode. I didn't try it normally, although it was available. What was that booth across from the PlayStation one where Ace Combat 7 was playing, like Soul Calibur? Was that just the Bandai Namco or something like that booth? Was that what it was?
I have no idea.
No. I never actually looked why. I'm just going to assume it was the Bandai booth or something, but I never saw any sort of logo presentation or anything. It was just like a wall with games. Yeah. One of which was Ace Combat. But I've heard good things about Ace Combat 7, like the normal version of it. I've heard that it's really good, a lot of fun. That sounds good. The VR demo was cool. I was having fun. I couldn't figure out the button to actually shoot the fucking missiles. So what I really did was just fly around for 5 minutes, crash a couple times and be like, okay, if I could shoot back, that would have been fun. But I got the general gist. It looked cool. There is some sort of story. When you start the demo, you hop into your plane, you're like you're driving out of the garage where your plane's crashed and like other planes are in the sky shooting at you. There's tanks on the ground like shooting up at them. So there is some sort of war thing happening. So some story. It's not just here's a VR demo, fly around for 5 minutes, that's it. So that's cool. I'm still more intrigued to know exactly how long the VR content is going to be in the game, because one of the most disappointing things was when they were like, yeah, we're going to have PSVR and Ace Combat 7, and everyone was like, fuck yes, that sounds amazing. And then they said, yeah, but not the full game. It's its own separate thing. So then the question always becomes, okay, is it just an hour? Is it like a couple levels, an hour max for VR? Because that's not worth buying the game if your only interest is the VR content. But we'll find out. Okay, that was PAX. I hope everyone had a good time. We had a good time. You should go check out our brand new gaming podcast, Arcade Couch, which we recorded live at PAX. You can check that out, of course, explosionetwork.com, find it there, or on your podcasting services. And I would suggest giving that one a listen, where Kieran and Cherie also join me and Ash to talk about all our PAX games. Yeah. It's basically all indie game stuff that we played there. We cover some of the same.
Was there any more AAAs that you wish you'd checked out?
Oh, there was heaps. To me,
Yeah.
there was so much I'm annoyed I didn't play.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm.
What's the number one?
Number one. Rage 2,
Yeah.
I think.
I heard that was
maybe?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been interested. I've been really intrigued since I announced it, because of the Avalanche involvement.
Yeah.
Which, although I read a story this week that was like, there's not going to be vehicles in it, or like there's going to be fuck all vehicles. I was like, I'm out. But was there one that you wished, like one that stood out?
Not really. I think it would have been cool to like check out the Division 2 or Devil May Cry or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I
Line's
thought
been
about the
finished,
Division, but I was like, maybe if there was less line, but I'm not going to line up considering to me, it's just more Division. Did you like the first Division? You'll probably like this Division too. You know, I would have checked it out if there was a chance, but wasn't going to line up.
Oh yeah, and all the VR stuff for the competition thing that we talked about the other week.
Yeah, that was annoying. The
Never
lines
got
for
near
that were
it.
huge. The lines for that stuff were huge though, and I was like, I can't.
That Onrush one looked pretty cool though.
Yeah, that was a legit. Like, it's so funny watching that Onrush thing. They make people sit down because it's the that was it. What do you call it? The gliding. What's it fucking called in real life? Hang glide? No, it's not hang gliding.
No,
Don't know.
it's like
A
a
body gliding.
wingsuit.
Wingsuit. Thank you. It's a wingsuit VR game. Which, of course, if you're playing in home, like I will be, I'll just be playing it sitting in my chair and just having
You
fun.
could
or
lie
whatever.
down.
No, well, I could lie down, sure. What they did at PAX though was they had like this table fucking thing lie down, and you had to lay on it belly first, spread out like you're actually flying through the sky, and yeah, it looked pretty funny when I was watching some people on it, and then watching some people using the car driving one as well, like the proper mechanical, the full rig thing. I was like, I want to go. Oh, there's 20 people in the line. Nah. Okay. Let's quickly go over this November's PS Plus games, which are out today, I guess. Yeah, when this is out, I think it's
Hopefully.
unless they delayed them or something like that. So this month you're going to be able to pick up 3 platinum, 9 gold, 33 silver, and 149 bronzes. The games for this month are Yakuza Kiwami on PS4, Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition on PS4, Jackbox Party on the PS3, Akudo Series on PS3, Burly Man at Sea on PS4 and Vita, Roundabout on PS4 and Vita. Which of these stick out to you this month, Ash, if any?
Probably Yakuza. It's pretty cool. I picked up Zero in a sale, like
did you
Zero
really?
in a sale like a couple of months ago. So
Did you try it?
No. Sidetrack with other things, but yeah. Also intrigued by Bulletstorm. I feel like it's written by Rick Remender, who's a big comic book writer. So that's always been something that's intrigued me, but never got around to checking it out. So
I tried it when it came out on PS3 back in the day. It was fine. I don't think I finished it because something else came out very close. It was one of those scenarios, but I remember being like, oh yeah, this is fun. The whip thing was fun. The like point system, it's it's meant to be a fun shooter. You're meant to take down enemies with style and points or whatever, so that was interesting. I'm not really super intrigued in the Yakuza franchise, so I'm like, whatever. Burly Man at Sea is good because that is a couple hour platinum. So I'm like, I've nearly bought it several times, but it's never been on a sale. So that's a good one. Good pick up there. The only game in here that really stood out to me that I had no idea what it was, and then when I watched the trailer, I was like, fuck, that's actually quite funny, is Roundabout, which is a 70s B movie basically, which has full motion video cutscenes with real actors and stuff, and the acting is fucking terrible, but it's great. And it's like a limousine driver, but the limousine can rotate on like a full 180, like it's doing donuts basically as it moves constantly.
okay,
And then like
so
it's
it's just
an
like
open
stuck
world.
in a roundabout.
Yeah. And that's a limousine. That's how it goes. And then, so there's some sort of open world. It's like top down though, so it's not like whatever. It's not blowing your mind like it's a fucking first person game. It's top down but open world where there are secrets to find and whatever else. And then there is some sort of story and mission structure where you like crazy taxi deliver people in a limousine. So yeah, I watched the trailer for it. I was like, this looks quite silly to the point where I wouldn't mind checking it out. Quite funny. Never heard of it though before this point. It came out last year. Completely missed it. Went under the radar. Which goes to prove sometimes, you can never know everything. There's still always going to be stuff that might interest you that just goes right over or under your radar.
Yep.
Decent month, I feel, though. Like, it's not a bad one, of course. You got Yakuza, you got Bulletstorm.
The Jackbox Party Pack is the odd one.
That's a terrible fucking pick.
Yeah.
It's so
weird.
weird.
It's on PS3 and
Yeah.
locked to PS3. I'm pretty sure there's no platinum for that.
There's not. It's 20 fucking bronzes. It's like, oh, why? Also, games-wise, pretty good. Trophy-wise, it is the worst it has been in months. Only 3 platinums. There's the lowest amount of trophies you could score from your plus
3 platinums?
Yeah. So you've only got Yakuza,
terrible.
Bulletstorm, and Berlin Man at Sea with platinums. The rest don't have platinums. Although, roundabout, from everything I've read about and how involved it is with secrets to find in the open world and whatever else, like, why doesn't that have a platinum? That's really confusing. I don't think any Jackbox game has a platinum at all, full stop. And Arcado series is like 3 games in one that were all sold separately. One of which I have played, which is the Pix, the cat one, which is a like 2D platformer type thing. Really colorful and bright. Yeah, so it's all those sorts of games.
Like that was a PS Plus game at one point.
It probably was now. They've just chucked it all out as a collection.
Yeah.
But there's your PS Plus games. Let's go over this PS Classic list of games. Like they revealed the full list of PS Classics, what's going to be on the system. Let's go over them and let's finally decide, is this worth the $150 that they're going to be charging for it? The games are Battle Arena Toshiden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms. What are your thoughts on this list, Ashley Hobley, and are you intrigued to pick one of these PlayStation Classics up?
Not overly. Yeah. It's a list of games that I don't know too well. The Persona one's probably the one that most interests me. I think
The game I'm pretty sure all Persona fans agree is the worst Persona.
Yeah, but yeah. There's nothing like super. I feel like most of the big name games you can find somewhere else, so it's hard to argue.
Well, this is the problem with the list, isn't it? Why aren't some of the really bigger games on here? The answer is because they've either been remastered or they're going to be remastered or they plan on remastering them sometime in the future or they just came out remastered like Crash, so
yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the answer. And then you have to wonder about other things. It's like, okay, with no Tomb Raider or anything like that, it's like I don't know if there's a weird licensing issue or stuff like that.
Like how much do you reckon they'd have to pay to license that?
I don't know.
Yeah, and then you have to
depends on if they want to
work
play
out
ball,
how much your budget is for the console. And then I'm sure there's financial reasons as to why.
The only game on here that stands out to me is Siphon Filter.
Yeah.
The rest I don't care about really. Like if we go through it, Battle Arena Toshiden, I have no idea what the fuck that is. I'm sorry to whoever really likes that. Cool Borders 2, fun game. It's not
Snowboard Kids was better. I assume I never played Cool Borders.
It's not a selling point for this type of thing though, I suppose. Destruction Derby. Once again, it's like a filler game. It's not a selling point. Final Fantasy VII. It's on everything. It is literally on everything at this point. That is not a selling point for this. Grand Theft Auto is cool. That is not one that you can find too easily, but I'm pretty sure it's a PS Classic and probably on your phone. So
probably on Steam, I would have thought.
Maybe. But, it's not as bad as something like...
On some sort of dodgy website.
Yeah, it's probably... Intelligent Cube, that is a filler game, if any. Jumping Flash, I know there is a big audience for that game. Some people really love it, so whatever. Metal Gear Solid, that's a good one. That's a good one to have on here. A lot of people, of course, haven't played that one. A lot of people jumped in at Metal Gear Solid 2, the PS2 generation, or maybe only have played 5 and want to go back and be able to play them all. And you can pick up the collection, but it doesn't include the first game. So it is good that this has the first Metal Gear. Mr. Driller, that's a cool game, but it's not tier 1 selling point. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey has had a remaster released last year or the year before, I can't really remember. But it had a remaster release at some point, so that's out there. A better version of that is out there. Rayman, that's cool. That's a cool one to have on here, I think. Rayman, it's so funny because it's like Rayman's cool. It's not going to hold up as well as some other games, but and especially when you compare it to the new like Legends and Origins, like so much more colorful and vibrant and fun. I'm just like,
it's not like Mario.
Yeah, Mario kind of just because of the art style holds up a lot better. You chuck Super Mario Brothers and it's fine. Resident Evil Director's Cut. Sure, I guess play the first original game the way it was meant to be played before you jump into the remake of Resident Evil 2. Yeah. If that's what you want to do. Revelations Persona, I haven't played it. All I know is I've read from a lot of people that the general consensus is that Persona 2, which I have played and I never finished like old Persona games, but that's the point where people kind of start Persona at. It's like Persona 2, that's where it really starts. Revelations Persona was, they're figuring out what they're doing, but it's not really one people like to hype up. Ridge Racer Type 4 is Ridge Racer. It would have been on this list no matter what, because it's a Ridge Racer. It would say there's no ignoring it. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, fun game. Not like I'll put it in like medium territory because it's not something people would go out of the way to play. But I feel like it's one of those games you can chuck on a collection like this, and people will try it out and then be like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty cool. So that's a good one. Siphon Filter, as I said, is probably my standout from the list. Siphon Filter is one of the most underrated franchises. Bring it back. Needs to come back. I miss my man Logan. What a game. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, you just put all 3 Siphon Filters on here and you make the whole thing a lot better. Tekken 3. People are going to argue about why Tekken 2 or 3 now you get to this Tekken 2 versus 3 argument. I don't really have a preference. Well, I mean, I do Tekken 2, but it's fine. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. I don't know why this is on here.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
It's very odd one because I'm like, are you trying to get the fans that love Siege? It's a completely different game. It's a story-based, like PS1 game.
Of all the shooters, you pick one that was on pretty much every platform.
Yeah, so weird. Then you got Twisted Metal. Makes sense, I guess, for PS1 collection type thing, but I don't have a love for Twisted Metal, so whatever. And Wild Arms, I've never played, but I know a lot of people really love Wild Arms, so that's fine. Overall, I'd give it a solid, I suppose, out of 10.
Solid,
yeah. My thoughts are still, I have no interest in buying it, and I definitely have no interest in buying it at $150. It's just not for me. I feel like they.
Yeah. It looks cool. Like they had them on display.
It does look cool.
PAX, yeah.
And if I was made of money, I would buy one, not to play it, but simply to own it, to put on a shelf, because it does look cool.
Did you see the Japanese version is slightly different?
Yeah, I assume that comes down to licensing.
Yeah,
because different companies license whatever different games. So, I honestly, my overall thoughts are Sony dropped the bag on this a little bit. They tried to cash in on something that Nintendo was like obviously made really popular, and they saw a market and they jumped in on it when they could have innovated in so many ways to make it more interesting. They could have put a day one price with 20 games that come on it. They could have then linked it up to the internet and had you like linking with your PS1 classics that are already available on the PlayStation Store, and then you could buy more to put on there. And it could have just been this nice box that was just like you could either just play it out of the box with no internet with some games on it. You could add more if you wanted to. It let you use the old school controllers. So then the argument of like, why would I buy this if I can just buy the games at the PlayStation Store? Then it's like, well, nostalgia, you can plug in the old controllers to it, etc., etc., etc. It's no different than the arguments for why people would want to buy it now anyway. And then the fact that they didn't add any sort of stuff like trophies or anything, which of course people's argument is, well, that's so much more work. Yeah, it is. But
Yeah.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be more work. I'm saying put in the work and make it a interesting
Just
product.
wait 12 months. PlayStation Classic Super Edition or something.
Yeah, probably. I know a lot of people argue that, yeah, but fuck the games that are on it. It's just going to be hacked, and that's why I'm buying it anyway. But at that stage, why aren't you just buying a Raspberry Pi or whatever the fuck they're called? You know, just buy one of those.
Doesn't look like a small PlayStation.
I know, but then if that's your argument, then it defeats your argument that they're hackable, and that's the reason you're getting it. Because if your argument is it's hackable and that's the reason you're getting it, then you should just get a Raspberry Pi. But then if your counter argument is but it doesn't look as cool, then really your argument is you just want to buy it because it looks cool, and just say that. Just say you want to buy it because it looks cool, and I will say that's your prerogative. I have no problem. That's fine. You do you, but I don't think it's super exciting.
I think it's a collectible thing for people who maybe have fallen out and want to revisit or share it with their kids. It's just all simple. Just plug in one cable, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I get that, but
yeah,
that's a very small market for.
I'm sure they're going to sell out, so I don't think they're going to care too much.
Yeah, well, they're definitely going to fucking sell out. But like this whole kids argument thing, if you got a kid, you're showing them fucking Mario and you switch and whatever else, they're like, this is great, having a great time. You know, you're playing Mario Party with them, you're playing latest Lego game with them, whatever. You're like, fucking, look at this. I was plugging the console I played as a kid. You plug in this. Like, kids, have a look at Twisted Metal. They're like, why does it look like pixels threw up on my TV? Dad? Like, check out Final Fantasy VII. It's one of the greatest games of all time. Come here, kids, have a look. Why does his body look like it's made out of Play-Doh, Dad?
No.
Mum?
That's the problem with HD TVs. They're going to have to release the CRTV Classic.
Yeah, that would have made money. They're like, we're releasing a portable, easy to set up Elgato green screen like CRTV TV. That's money to be made. That is money, money, money. All right, let's move on. The most exciting news story of the week and the last news story of the week to talk about is, of course, the best one, Ash. MediEvil. Finally got a trailer for the remaster. This is the game. This is the game, Ash. When they say, Dylan, they say, Dylan, if you had to pick between the Spyro remaster coming out or the MediEvil game, which one are you picking? The answer is MediEvil. MediEvil all day. Yeah, that's because it's better. I love Spyro. Spyro's great. It isn't MediEvil. Sony dropped the first trailer for the MediEvil remake finally, and we now know it is actually a remake, not a remaster, because there was a lot of confusion coming out of PSX last year where they announced it, and by announced it, it was like, I've got a t-shirt on. It's a thing. That was it. Who's making it? Is it a remake or a remaster? I swear Sony had no idea at that stage, really. I really don't know. Have you watched the trailer? And as someone who has never played the game, what was your impressions of it?
Yes, I watched the trailer. It looks good. Looks very much updated. It looks like they definitely had to remake it because it seems like some of the perspectives and the size of different things has been altered to make it, I guess, more friendly or whatever to modern platforming sensibilities. Looks fine. I'm happy that you're happy. I wouldn't say it's a game you could would be super against. I know because in the trailer they make it out like it's a horror game. I guess no,
because
it's
scary,
going to be fine.
It's really a cartoon adventure, like a dark cartoon adventure with dark humor, a lot of dark humor involved in the plot and all sorts of things. I've played through. MediEvil was one of those games that, as a kid, I would play through 100% it and be like, okay, I've got nothing left to do now, so what do? Start the game again. And then 100% it, and then I'd play something else, and then I'd come back again, and I would restart it, and I'll 100% it, and I'd continue onwards and onwards. So I haven't played it for 10 plus years at this stage, so I'm going to be interested how, when I pick up the remake, how easily I'm going to be like, okay, the secret in this level's in this location. I can still remember some specific levels. I don't know why the ones that stand out in my head, but there are some specific levels that even now I could be like, I know where the chalice is, because the secrets in MediEvil work with, you have to kill all the enemies in a level, and then it will fill the chalice that's hidden in the level full, so then you're able to grab it. So you could find the chalice, but you wouldn't be able to touch it. It's like you walk through it kind of thing. But then if you go through the level and you kill all the enemies, then you have to come back to wherever you found it, and then you're able to pick it up. And that's like the game's secret. And by getting the chalices, then you can get different weapons and all sorts of things. But one of the things that stood out most to me in the trailer was the levels that are mostly shown. So 98% of what you see is basically from the first couple levels, which are all set in the graveyard, because the story starts in the graveyard, because that's where Sir Dan awakes in his from his grave there, comes back to life, and then the first couple levels is him setting out from the graveyard. And then further levels include like forests, villages with psycho inhabitants, pirate ships, a level that's full of spiders that I hate still and haunts me. Many different things. So, but the majority of what you see in this is mostly from those first couple levels, including the two dog monsters that they show, which is, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's the first boss, or it might be the second boss, depending on how you do it, because there is elements of Metroidvania to MediEvil to a point where you can do some levels in different orders. Like you'll beat a level and it'll be like, okay, do you want to go over here or do you want to go over here? Because there's like an overview kind of map where you can select the levels from. So you can do some stuff in certain orders. And then there are other things where like you'll get a stone in a level and you could take that item back to a different level and then put it in a door in that level and unlock a different part of the level. So it's not like it's not proper Metroidvania, because obviously it's not like a 2D side scroller type thing where you're going backwards and forwards, but there is like that element of getting stuff further in the game and then using what you've got to come back to a level you've already completed and doing certain things in that level. Lots of interconnected paths and stuff, which is really cool. And then some of the boss fights still stand out to me. The music, I'll never forget. The music that you hear in the trailer is, I was just listening to it. I'm like, yes, the music in that game, phenomenal. Characters, really, really great. It's funny because the characters are so great, yet Sir Dan basically says nothing. Like he just mumbles, or he can't speak because, of course, he doesn't have like his
a voice box.
Yeah, he doesn't have. He just and then another character will be like, "Well, no, I'm not going to go do that." Like it's that whole weird thing, but that does bring up some of my questions for the game. You know, like, did they re-record all the voice work for all the characters? Because then I'm going to worry they're going to fuck up some of the characters' voice work, because it's a game I really like, which means that I have a certain voice in my head for how a lot of characters sound, specifically the villain and some of the other bosses. So we'll see how that goes. And then I'm going to wonder how the platforming works, because it didn't control great, but it controlled fine for the time. But if I think about it now, it was you couldn't course correct once you're in air, I suppose is the way to describe it. You know, it's a lot like those PS1 generation games where when you're doing some sort of platforming section, you had to make sure you lined it up well before you actually committed to the jump. Whereas games these days, you can kind of course correct in the middle of a jump in the air. You can swing your analog stick in a direction, kind of have your character rotate towards that direction and stuff. But it was very stiff, is the way to go. I'm super excited though. It looks really, really cool. I'm glad it is a proper full remake, not just a remaster or a skin up, because they already did that for the PSP. They released MediEvil, I don't know, it's called Retribution, or I don't know, I can't remember, something revived, I don't know. They released it for PSP, which was basically a remaster of the first game for the PSP, which up-res the textures a little bit and stuff. So that's been done. I don't want it. I want this to be successful. Then I want them to remake the second one, and then I want them to do a third game. That's the dream at this stage. It won't happen, I know, but there's always a slim chance. There's always a...
Well, is this a PlayStation exclusive though? Like the other two major remasters are Activision games. Is this like a
this has been one of those really weird questions, and I've tried to find the answer, and I still haven't found someone that could just go, here's how it is. I'm pretty sure Sony owns MediEvil.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that they own it. So
Yeah, so it would be relatively simple-ish if it sells well for them to go, yeah, we'll do 2 and 3.
because the teams working on it is Sony's own international software development team. So that kind of points towards them owning it, and they're working on it in co-work with other Ocean Interactive, which is, I looked them up, nothing stood out to me, but they're helping with this game, so
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Very interesting.
All right, let's move on to finishing up show.
Okay.
Hashtag every trophy counts.
Certainly does.
Ash, you got a big smile on your face. Have you got some news? Have you got some news to break to us?
I got that sweet Fallout Shelter Platinum.
Finally.
Yeah. Months in the making.
It is months in the making. All right, so walk through. How was it? What are your tips and tricks? What was the biggest pain in the ass for you?
Just don't do it. don't commit. I think it must have been like 30, 40 hours. Oh, no, 40 to 60 hours of just waiting for certain things to happen. Yeah, but I don't know.
Because when I looked this morning.
If you've played Fallout Shelter, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
When I looked this morning, the last trophy you had left was a bronze for 50 bandits attacking you or something like that.
Yeah, I had to wait for freaking bandits. And if you build your level up too big, then there's like bandits, ghouls, and then deathclaws.
Okay.
So if you get too big, then the bandits don't come as often.
Ah. So what'd you do?
It just lucked out that I got enough. I was just waiting for that last bandit attack. So I just left the game running.
What would you say is the easiest? What would you? Oh no. What would you say is the hardest trophy? And is it? Do you reckon there's anything now that you look back that you could have done to make it easier?
Not really. It was like the legendary outfits or weapons. You have to get 20 of each. So it's just wait, just earning that money. You have to invest. I think probably in hindsight, I would have like made multiple outfit places and like start getting them upgraded, and then because it take like a week to make one.
Really?
So
far out.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's a struggle.
You got it.
It. It's done. Now I can delete it off the system.
Do you reckon that's your last platinum for the year? What do we?
Probably. I can't imagine anything else, yeah. Unless I decide to play one of the Telltale games. Rip.
You're like, maybe. Can't do it. Now that they're dead, I'll play their games.
Yeah, sure. I'll play Wolf Among Us and then I can get on the outrage train. But there's never going to be
join the outrage train. Everyone loves it on the outrage train these days. So you've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. I've seen Brian from PS4 Trophies call it out as being a ridiculous plat. You have like 2 trophies in it. From what you've seen, is it just
I haven't looked
bullshit?
At the trophy list, but I imagine it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it sounds like you have to get every single animal in the compendium or whatever. That sounds like an impossible thing.
Yeah. Some people are saying some of the birds or something seems pretty impossible to...
Yeah, how are you supposed to tell which birds are which from a distance? Shoot them down. Oh, no, too much effort. Just enjoy the game. Don't worry about getting that platinum.
Apparently there's also missable trophies, which is the biggest annoyance.
Yeah, I've heard that like some missions get cut off at certain points if you do other ones. Like you get run out of town or something. You can't go back.
So that's always annoying for a game like Red Dead where
you have to start again.
Yeah.
Which I get. I would be against doing like a second playthrough. Like at this point, like I'm going the honorable route, like being a good dude. But I
don't think that's possible from what I've read, but
like you make good-ish choices.
Yeah.
Like, but it would be interesting to go back and just murder everybody all the time. Show no remorse. No witnesses.
But you won't because there's only so much time.
Yeah. No.
In case you hadn't noticed, we didn't talk about the Spider-Man DLC because neither of us played it, so we can neither talk about the actual DLC's content nor
Nick talked about it last week. It's fine.
Nor how hard the trophies are. But if we both play it by next week, you can have me and Ash's quick mini review on that.
Yeah.
But I was hoping to get it done because I wanted to confirm if that challenge trophy was actually hard or we were just fearing nothing. But I mean, Nick did it, but you know, who knows?
Well, then it can't be too hard.
He's got these Xbox controller in. He's probably fucking hacked it to make it easier. You know.
Yeah, he probably
trust him.
Hacked into the PSN profiles.
Yeah. The question is, how hard is this trophy for people actually using the correct controller, like normal people playing the game?
I assume it's easier. Because you don't have your hands are together.
Yeah, I assume so as well.
Same level, so it may be easier. Yeah.
It's
got to be harder to get to photo mode from there because you got to move your head down.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. See, it wasn't designed for asymmetrical.
It's unnatural.
That control scheme.
It's a
Just
disaster.
rude, just disrespectful to the developers. That's what it is.
One trophy list popped this week that I found really weird. So Hitman 2 trophies went up. It has 13 gold, 18 silver, and 87 bronze, but no platinum, which I found really weird. The first Hitman game didn't have any platinum, but that kind of made sense at the time because it was an episodic release thing, which I was still like, you could have had a platinum with this. Obviously, Telltale games have platinums in their episodic, whatever. But I kind of gave it a pass of just the way they were developing the game or whatever, they got screwed out of platinum. This one isn't releasing like that, though. This one is releasing at one time, although a bunch of the trophies... Yeah, a bunch of the trophies are separated.
It's broken up into 14 different DLC packs, from what I could see on the list.
So, pretty much what I gather, that you can tell from how it went down, is I think they were planning on still doing it like an episodic thing until kind of a couple months ago, whenever they said that, no, it's all going to release at once. It seems like before that they weren't sure what they were doing, I feel. Like they started the development with it still being an episodic thing and then at some stage changed it. And then, I don't know. But the fact that this just drops and it's got 14 DLCs, day one, and I'm pretty sure, and I might be a little bit wrong because I presume some of these may be a pre-order bonuses or stuff you have to buy. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that the majority, if not all of those DLCs, are just what's on the disc or what you get if you buy it. But they're just separated into solo DLC lists. It's really weird. And a bunch of them are legacy game stuff, which is the maps from the first game just put into the second one.
Okay.
Which is really weird. Yeah. So they've added the majority of the worlds or maps or whatever you want to call it from the first game into this one, but because it's got the Hitman 2 gameplay changes, which includes really cool stuff like enemies will spot you in a mirror if you're behind them and shit like that. So they're like, hey, it's the same maps, but it's going to be a lot different now because we've got different gameplay changes and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's really weird, though, to see something with that many trophies pop and no platinum. It's like, good lord. Okay, well, there you go. So no Hitman game on the current gen console so far has got a platinum apart from what has been kind of leaked, which is there was a ESRB or something like that rating that went up yesterday as we're recording for Blood Money and one of the Hitman games, which basically screams that they're going to be releasing a HD remaster or whatever of Hitman 3 and 4 or whatever they were. For whatever reason, I don't really know. But I presume that they'll have platinum.
Who's releasing it though? Is it Square Enix? Is it WB? Who knows?
Yeah, both. We'll find out.
Both?
I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that. But it'll be really funny if the only Hitman games on PS4 that have platinums are the old ones. None of the new ones. We'll be like, okay, it's an interesting thing that's happened. And then we had one question come through the Discord from Michael last week, who said, do you keep physical games that you have gotten the plat for, or do you give them to family, friends, or trade them in? I keep them if they're a game I really like, or else I just trade them in.
Yeah. Most of them are Telltale games, so they're all bought digitally. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I keep them. Otherwise, yeah. I know. I'm pretty bad about trading stuff in. Yeah, I end up hoarding.
What do you mean? How bad? In what way?
I've still got like copies of Infamous and stuff that I've got them digitally. I could just get rid of, but I'm just lazy. I don't take it in. I've still got old versions of FIFA and like
Oh, you
iterated
fucked
those
yourself
sort
there
of things.
because every day you wait for those things, they become worthless.
They already were worth us.
Yeah.
Unless you trade it in like the day before, or like a month before the actual next one comes out.
Yeah, pretty much. I usually like stack up on mine, and one day every year I just take in a bunch of stuff I want to get rid of.
You just wait till you get one of those special vouchers.
Pretty much, yeah.
Bonus, yeah.
Get rid of a bunch of stuff. But yeah, if I've platinumed the game, the only reason I'm keeping it is because it's a game I really liked. So for example, I had Bloodborne, I was keeping it, and then was on PS Plus, and I traded in. So that's how that works.
But what if PS Plus stops being a thing?
Well, yeah, that's whatever.
Then you'll be able to get for like $5 somewhere.
Yeah, whatever. Like if we're on a different console and I still want to go back and play a Bloodborne or whatever at that point, then I'll dig out the old console to be able to play it, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not too worried about that scenario. If you want to send in a question for the show, you can, of course, do it by heading over to explosionnetwork.com/Discord, tweet at us on Twitter at PlatPodcast, or mail platinum@explosionnetwork.com. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Platinum Explosion number 85. That is 15 away from 100, Ash. That means we'll not reach episode 100 this year.
Oh, no.
There's my math.
I think that's how math works. I'm pretty sure it's going to be next year anyway.
There's my math for you. You can follow me on Twitter at VivaLadil, VivaLadil. Where can people follow you, Ashley?
Follow me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. It's a thing.
It is indeed. Don't forget to rate this show on Apple Podcasts if you can. And if you can't pay it forward, just write it on a texter on the back of someone's back or something like that.
In a bathroom stall. I want to see it in a bathroom stall.
Yeah, right on the
mirror. Like a full review.
Bathroom.
Not like just the name of the show. Like a full review. Yeah.
You do you, listeners. This is, of course, a product of the Explosion Network, of which you can find many more shows, articles, news, and reviews at explosionnetwork.com. Head on over to there, and then you can follow the Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Less PAX talk, more what we'll be talking about next week. Next week, I feel like there's something happening. What's happening?
So I noticed in the store that The Quiet Man came out.
Yeah, I'll be talking about that. I brought it.
You bought it? We're going to be talking about that next week?
Yeah, so I haven't played it yet. I've seen nothing on Twitter but negative press for it, but I couldn't help I couldn't help myself. It's too much of a disaster for me not to be like, fuck it.
That $2 discount for PS Plus. I mean,
it's gone far.
You get day one.
I talked about it too much in the show that
not
to the point I was literally staring at it last night on the store, and I'm like, fuck. Everyone's saying it sucks, but then I'm having this argument of like, but you knew it was gonna suck. Isn't that why you was interested? And I'm like, you're right, Dylan. That is why I was interested in it. Just buy it. Okay, buy it. And that's what's happened. I haven't had a chance to play it yet because I've been playing Call of Cthulhu, which I'll talk about maybe next week, or maybe I'll talk about it on Arcade Couch. Go listen to Arcade Couch. I'll maybe talk about it there, but I'll have a review up on it.
When's Arcade Couch come out?
It's every Saturday at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time.
Cool. Yeah, that's good to know.
I was like, is that the answer you wanted? He was looking at me like, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for joining us this week. Bye-bye. Hey there, dear listeners. Are you aware that the Explosion Network has a brand new video game podcast? You're not? Well, it's called Arcade Couch, and it is available now. We kicked it off at PAX 2018 by recording the first episode right there and then, and now it is releasing every Saturday at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Go ahead and download it now on your favorite podcasting service. Simply search for Arcade Couch. Search for Explosion Network, whatever, however you want to go about it. Find it, subscribe to it. Grab your friends' phones, subscribe to it. Check it out. Check out the first episode, live from PAX. Check out the second episode, live from our usual recording booths. But just check it out.
I totally knew it came out then.
Did you? He was looking at me like, that's not right. That's not right. And then your brain was...
I'm playing it up.